In this video, I'm going to calculate the volume of 3D shapes, but not the volume of prisms. That's a separate video. Right? There's two types of 3D shapes. You got prisms, and there are ones that are not prisms. The likes of, for example, the cone. We've got triangular base pyramids, and we can say rectangular base pyramids or square base pyramids. Okay, also spheres, and hemispheres. Right, these are not prisms, and I've explained why these are not prisms in a different video. Right, the first ones I'm going to concentrate on are these shapes over here, ones I've got over here. Now, one thing you noticed about these shapes, right, all the edges, the faces come to a single point at the top like this. They've all got something in common. They're all pointing up. They're coming to a single point, all the faces, the edges. To work out these type of shapes, it's 1/3 multiplied by the base area multiplied by the vertical height. I'll explain each one. Right, the base, this is the base. It's what the shape is, the part of the shape that's sitting on the floor, on the ground. That's the base, that's a triangle, and that's the base, that's a rectangle. Right, the first one is a cone. As I said, it's a cone. That's a triangular base pyramid, that's a rectangular base pyramid. I'm going to put some dimensions to this. Right, this one here, I'll show you. This one, this dimension here is the vertical height of the cone. Right, and from the center to the edge, that's called the radius, because that's a circle. So let's just work on this one for now, for the time being. Let's give it some numbers. We'll call the height 10 centimeters, and the radius, what should we call it? From the center to the edge, we'll just say it's 4 centimeters. From the center to the edge, that's the radius, right? Well, first of all, you need to work out the base, which is a circle. To work out the area of a circle, it's simply pi r squared. If you've got a pi button on your calculator, use it, or use 3.14 times. Right, that's the pi, and the radius is 4. Radius is 4. That's 4 squared. Do that on the calculator. Now, I've got a pi button, so I can use pi. If you don't have one, then use 3.14. Pi r squared. So the area of this circle is 50.265 centimeters squared. Now let's use the formula. 1/3 times, what's the base area? What's the base area? It's right here, look, I've just worked it out. It's that one there, multiplied by the vertical height, 10. I'll do that on the calculator. Now, if you've got a fraction button, that's useful. If you haven't got a fraction button, then you can still do it. I'll show you in a moment. Right, that's the answer. That's the volume of this cone based on these dimensions, these numbers here. It's going to be centimeter cubed. Well, the lengths are in centimeters here, the dimensions are in centimeters, so the volume is going to be centimeter cubed because it's in 3D, right? It's volume. That's your volume for that one there. Now, as I said, I can show you how to do this without using a fraction button. So what you can do is you can do 50 point, well you don't need to do 1 times 50.265, right? You don't need the 1, you can just do 50.265 times 10 for the numerator, and then divide by 3, right? Divide by 3, still get the same answer. See, whatever I've got here, I've got it on the calculator, right? So let's just show that again. 1 times 50.265 times 10, and then whatever you get on the calculator, then divide by 3, right? That calculation is the same as this calculation. Right, next one I'm going to do is this triangular base pyramid. One thing I'm going to put here is the vertical height. You'll need that from the base to the very top, straight up, not sideways. All right, it's that way. Let's give it a number. Let's say h. For this one, we'll say h is equal to, what should we say, 5 centimeters this time. Right. This triangle over here, we'll label it 6 centimeters, and the height of that triangle, okay, if I just draw it here, if I just draw that triangle here, imagine that's sitting flat on the ground. I'm calling that 6 centimeters, and I'm going to call the vertical height, let's say 2 centimeters, all right? That vertical height there, I'll call it 2 centimeters. So first of all, like here, remember, I worked at the area of the base, which is a circle. In this case, it's a triangle. You need to work at the area of that triangle. To work at the area of the triangle is simply base times height. Base times height. Don't forget the most important part, divide by 2. Why? To work out area of any triangle, it's base times height, divide by 2. So that's 6 times 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6 centimeters squared. That's for the triangle, right? Now, let's work at the volume of the entire shape. That'll be 1/3 times the base. What's the base here? 6 times the vertical height, 5. Do that on the calculator. I could simply do 6 times 5 and then divide by 3. I'll get 10. 10 centimeter cubed. Or you could have just done this 1/3 if you've got a fraction button. If you feel comfortable with fraction buttons, there you go. 10. That's the volume of the triangular base pyramid. As always, you do need to know the vertical height. Let's say the height of this, we'll call it 4 centimeters. We need to work at the area of the rectangle, but we have got numbers there, so we'll put some numbers there, right? So this along here, we'll call it 5 centimeters, and this way we'll call it 2 centimeters. We have got enough information now to work out the volume. Well, first of all, let's work out the area of the rectangle, right? The base is just a rectangle, so all it is 5 times 2, 10 centimeters squared. That's the area of the rectangle, the base. Now work at the volume. 1/3 times the base, which is here, look, which is 10, times the vertical height, 4. So all I'm going to do is 10 times 4 divided by 3. If I just round that to 1 decimal place, that'll give me this as an answer. That's the volume of that shape based on those numbers over there. One important thing to take note of is the vertical height. You know, this measurement I've made over here, going straight from the bottom all the way to the top, the vertical height. Notice I've not taken any measurements this way. Right? If there was a number here, if there was a number along here, I wouldn't use it for the vertical height. You know, if you were measuring somebody's height, let's say there's a person standing here and you got a tape measure, you wouldn't measure it like that. That'd be ridiculous. You wouldn't measure anybody's height like that. You would measure somebody's height from the bottom all the way to the top like that, which is what these are. These are the vertical heights, right? That's what is the height.